Good morning, everybody. We just dropped our excavator off at the job site. We're gonna go take the trailer back to the yard, so we're gonna have some windshield time. And I guess this is a good time to do our 10,000 mile review on the Ford F-750. It's 2019 and it is the 330 horsepower engine setup, which is the highest horsepower that you can get with the 19 F-750. So let's get into it. Number one, we are at 10,430 miles on this truck. Not really sure how long I've had it. You guys probably know better than I do. A lot of this is just going to be a recap of things that were said in previous videos about the truck. Started out, I was not a huge fan of the 750 here. Also, let me state that I held out as long as I could before getting a new truck. We started out before this one with a Ford L9000. It was a 1985 model. And what made us move to the new truck is in about a 2-year span, I think we put $55,000 to $60,000 in a truck that was almost as old as me. So it just got to where it was nickel and diming us to death. We still have that truck, and I don't really have plans to sell it because, unfortunately, even though this is a newer truck, it's not been reliable. Between the time we got the truck, it had like 600 miles on it, and 5,000 miles. We had it in the shop twice. We were down for about a month, and it was all because of the diesel exhaust fluid system. As far as all the other components, this truck has been good. Everything's solid, but by 5,000 miles, they had replaced almost everything in this truck as far as the after treatments, the diesel exhaust fluid system, filter itself, everything. That was really disheartening because we bought the truck to avoid downtime. So you guys can go back to the 5,000 mile review video if you really want to see about all that. Now we're talking about between 5,000 miles and 10,000 miles. And we're racking these miles up pretty quick, and they are not easy miles. These are not interstate miles. This is loading this truck to, let's see, the truck is 15,000 pounds, 7,000 pound trailer, so that's 22,000. Plus, my excavator is a Yanmar Vio 80. The specs will show you that it's about an 18,500 pound machine. Well, I've got about 1,000 pound additional counterweight added on to it. So it's about a 20,000 pound machine, and it's heavy, but this truck pulls it like a champ. This is a really good pulling truck as far as back roads, as far as especially interstates. I can run up the road with that excavator at 76 miles an hour, which is what this is governed at. I don't need them to take the governor off because, frankly, we probably average, realistically, 35 to 40 miles an hour most of the time. And between 5,000 and 10,000 miles, we've had good service. It's been a good truck. We haven't had any more breakdowns. I was going up a steep incline the other day, and this thing just shut off. But I think that somehow either I didn't have the key when I cranked it, maybe I turned it back a little bit, or I bumped it with my hand because of the control setup on this truck for the dump bed controls. Over here, we have the PTO switch and we have the air gate control. But to lift the bed up and down, we have the toggle over here, which is kind of confusing when you're, you know, getting out of Wilbur, which everything is right by your hand. It's easy to control. Wilbur's the L9000. This truck has the 6-speed torque shift automatic transmission, but it is solid, and It hasn't slipped, it hasn't made any weird sounds, it hasn't had an abnormal like feeling to the shift, so it hasn't just jerked, it hasn't ground, anything like that. Going up the interstate, you can stomp it to the floor and it'll rev out, you know. It tries to run between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. Its maximum power is at, I think it's 2,200 RPM, 2,200 to 2,300 RPMs. So if I'm on back roads, I pull it down in the manual and I'll shift it to keep it between 2,000 and 2,500 RPMs, and it's noticeable that it just pulls like a champ. The downside to the way this thing is geared and the low torque of this engine. Like I said, it's a 330 horsepower, but it's only like 725, 750 on the torque. The old truck has nearly 1,000 on the torque, and you can tell a huge difference. This truck, when you go to spread, it's good on washed stone, because washed stone is like popping the tailgate and water pouring out of it. It does good. But here in the mountains, we use ABC, road bond, crusher run, crush and run. It's called all different names, but it's the 3/4 gravel with the fines in it. And even when it's bone dry, when you raise your bed up and you pop that tailgate, you have got to be moving, and as soon as you, like almost right before you pop the tailgate open, you have to stomp it to the floor for it to have anywhere close to the power to keep a steady speed. So it's really tricky as far as feathering the fuel. You can't feather it like you can a big bore engine. You almost have to be committed to it and stay on the floor the whole time you're spreading. With the road bond, when it starts sliding out, it's like it'll pour out and then it'll slow down. With this truck, it jerks you back and forth. It don't have the torque to resist the shift of the load. So it is almost impossible to get a really good tailgate smooth spread of road bond or the ABCM, which has more gravel, a little bit less fines. If it's not a washed stone, just you can do your best, and you can get, I've gotten better at it, but if a customer calls me and says, you know, I need a load of road bond and I need you to tailgate it on a driveway, I just go ahead, park this, and I get my old truck, because it's got a 9-speed with a 10-liter Cummins in it, and you don't even have to give it fuel. Put it in first gear, pop the tailgate, just let it idle, and it won't jerk you back and forth. It's smooth. So to that note, if you do a lot of tailgating, you better get, number one, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, in my experience, get you something with a lot of torque, and I'd say an 8 double L transmission is a good one for the mountains. But don't waste your time on these 750s. Really, the 750, in my opinion, is a great truck for flatlanders, flatland work. Now, if you're on a flat driveway and you pop the tailgate, even then, it still jerks you a little bit back and forth, and your spread will not be smooth. The edges of your material where you spread are not going to be nice and straight line and cut. But you guys down in South Carolina, anywhere it's flat and you don't have hills to pull, this would be a truck for you. This thing would be great. And if you're even a hot shot, I think this would be a good hot shot truck. And you can get it in a setup where it doesn't have the dump bed. All it has is the fifth wheel fenders, tail lights. I've seen that set up advertised, but I haven't seen anybody use it for that. I'm thinking we're going to have good service out of this truck in the future. I thought I was going to have a problem the other day with, it got to 95% on the filter, And it stayed that way all day. Usually when it hits 95%, within an hour, it's going to go through a regen. So I thought, oh boy, here we go again. This thing's just going to not run right. And that's one of the biggest things. You know, if you've got reliable equipment, you can relax through the day. You know it's going to do what it needs to do for you. You're going to be able to get through your job, and it's more enjoyable. But running this truck, the only thing that makes me feel good about getting through the day and knowing I'm going to get my work done is knowing that I've got a 32-year-old truck sitting in my yard that I know when I turn the key and I hit the starter, that sucker's going to crank. And it's going to pull, and it's going to pull hard. So, the reliability on this thing, honestly, I've had about 5,000 miles of being on the edge of my seat, worrying about it. And now I've had 5,000 miles of good service. So, we're at 50% on feeling comfortable and knowing that the truck is going to work for you. I'm already looking at getting another truck that's, tri-axle, and we're making steps to get to that. But number one, because of this truck, I'm not going to buy anything with a diesel exhaust fluid system. I'm either going to look at buying an older truck, pre-2000s, that maybe has the new transmission, new engine put in it, or what I'm really leaning toward, because of this truck and all the issues, is a glider. A glider is, you order a rolling chassis. I'm thinking Western Star, and once it gets to the dealership, you order the transmission you want specifically, you get to pick the engine you want, and you essentially have them build a truck exactly the way you want. There's going to be time, I think with that, there's a good chance that something's not going to go together just right, and it may have a couple of issues, but I'm anticipating that. With a brand new truck like the F-750, I anticipated having thousands and thousands and thousands of miles before I had to have major repairs. And frankly, the 750 did let me down in the beginning. Doing good again. Again, it's doing good now, and it's giving me quite a few miles of good service. And I hope that I get thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of good service more, but I'm not holding my breath. So, if you guys have any questions that I didn't touch on with this truck, drop them in the comments. To kind of end the video, we right now are in the process of trading my vehicle I have now, which is a Cadillac Escalade, and it's just totally impractical for what I do. It's been nice for riding around, doing estimates, but we're going to trade that for a pickup truck. We have a Dodge 1500 Warlock picked out. I'm not going to make those videos something long and drawn out and it take months, because frankly, most of the time when I wake up in the morning and I decide I want to trade a vehicle, by that afternoon I have something. But it just hasn't worked out that way this time. So we're going to be looking at getting that 1500, and everybody's like, oh, get a 3/4 ton, you'll be let down with, a half ton, you can't haul anything with it. Well, I own 2 dump trucks that are stouter and have a higher rating than any 1 or even 2 ton trucks. So I don't need to be paying $1,000 to $1,200 for a pickup truck. That doesn't make sense for my needs. I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate you guys putting your suggestions in there, but a lot of my viewers don't even have CDLs, so to them, they don't even think about, oh, well, yeah, you do have a big dump truck to use. So what the pickup is going to be for is getting me from point A to point B. 2, if you pull up in a car to do a grading quote, people aren't going to have faith that you have any clue what you're doing. And 3, all I need to haul in it is maybe throwing chainsaws in the bed of it, and I want to get, an auxiliary fuel tank for fueling my equipment instead of having to use 5-gallon jugs. Sometimes I'll take Wilbur, and I've got an electric pump that I stick down in his tank and just pump it out of there. So I don't need a diesel pickup truck. And again, this diesel exhaust fluid system and all the sensors and stuff has just completely turned me off to diesels. I will not be buying a diesel pickup truck. Other thing too, you can replace the whole engine in a gas truck for the cost of what some trucks turbo costs. Diesel started out as the most reliable trucks, and they got popular because they had a ton of torque. They went for tons of miles, and diesel was so cheap. Diesel was the waste that was left over from making gas. That's what made them popular. Nowadays, diesel is higher than gas in most cases. There's a lot more components that are required to make a diesel even run. And I'm just over it. You know, I'm over that. I'll have to keep diesels for my big rigs, my dump trucks. If I ever buy a tractor trailer, if I get into hauling big equipment, then I have to have a diesel. But it will definitely be something that does not have the exhaust fluid system on it. I've talked to my mechanics who work on these things every day. They say, do not buy something with the diesel exhaust fluid system on it. And they told me that before I bought this truck, and I have had to eat crow. I thought, no, by now they've got it figured out. They don't. Some of you guys out there have diesel trucks, and they may not have given you any problems, but the thought that I can have one vehicle that gets me from point A to point B, that maintenance is cheap, they go for a long time, and you only have to go to the pump for one thing. You pull up, you put gas in it, and you go. Diesel, now you have two nozzles. You got to pump the fuel in there, and then you have to turn around and pump the diesel exhaust fluid into a tank, and the diesel exhaust fluid costs more than diesel. I don't mean for this to be any kind of a rant, but they have taken diesels and every quality they used to have that made them desirable, they ruined it. So as far as your runaround, guys, get whatever you want. If you want to burn diesel and diesel exhaust fluid and pay for, 16, however many quarts of oil as opposed to 4 or 6 quarts of oil in a gasser, just to get you from point A to point B, if you can afford that, great, I'm happy for you. But to me, there is just so much money that's flying out the tailpipe of diesels these days. It's just turned me off. So I'm gonna keep this 750 and I'm gonna get my money out of it, and hopefully it lasts me for 250,000 miles like the warranty is good for. I'm sure it's gonna be in the shop a few times, but it's okay. So in short, if you're in flat country and you got an extra backup truck, the 750 will work for you. It'll be good for you. But if you're in the mountains of Virginia, Western North Carolina, don't buy this truck. Do not buy it. I do not recommend it at all. You need a big bore engine. Mack, I know they told me, I've already spoken to them, they could make me a little single axle dump truck with a big bore engine and manual transmission. So mountains, 750 bad. Flat country, 750 okay. So hopefully this video gives you guys some insight before you pay $93,000 for I guess 2020 F-750 now. So hopefully if you guys have these, it gives you good service, and hopefully, if even despite this video, you just go for it. You get a 750 or a 650. I hope for you, it gives you great service. I hope you don't have any problems. I hope you guys who get pickup trucks don't have any problems. I'm not going to wish bad service on anybody just because I've had bad service. And this is not, you know, brand specific. Chevys have problems. GMC, which is pretty much very similar, they have problems. Ford, problems. Duramax, I've heard a lot of problems. So, you guys get out there, get you an excavator, get you a setup, whatever it is you need, and follow your dream of having your own business. Just be smart, educate yourself on every piece of equipment before you acquire it, and hopefully you guys have a great day, because I know I am. We'll see you guys on the next video, which is going to be clearing about a half-acre lot. My buddy Jesse, of Elias Grading, is going to do the septic system, and we're going to have a dang good time with it. We'll see you guys there.